So whenever you're doing assessment, the assessment is within the sphere that you work, and the methods of assessment are the only ones that are possible within that sphere. But there are wider methods of assessment that you need to be aware of, and because this, as you know, this leads on to teacher qualification. You need to be aware of the others as well. So this one covers some of the assessment processes. It's important to make clear to students how you will evaluate their performance against them. And it then goes on to the different types of assessment. Formative assessment, initial, formative and summative. As well as that, there's quite a lot more that you do as well, which is interim sort of thing, between sort of any formative assessment, formal assessment. You cover quite a bit of informal assessment as well, don't you?
Yeah.
So again, it's the sort of thing that you need to be aware of is when let's go past a few of these actually. I want to get to approaches. Here we are. Criterion referenced are the ones that are used mostly now by everybody. Norm reference, which is ranking students according to normal distribution of ability, is very little used, but I believe it still is used in SEN.
Yeah.
Where you're looking at what is normal for a certain type of student, yeah? And the students that you've got are then measured against that norm, aren't they?
Yeah, so we use like the checklist that we use. If the children aren't developing at the same age as their peers, that's how we know that.
Yeah. So you're using quite often norm reference, and it's mainly used for large scale and externally set examinations, but it's also used for measurement of ability within a group. Yeah.
Yeah.
Now the criterion reference is what's the major way of assessing in every other sphere, really. What we're doing now is purely criterion reference. And we're looking at assessment criteria, and I'm telling you what you need to do to achieve that assessment criteria. So it works purely on that, and that criterion reference style, it becomes almost a Bible. You've got to stick really to exactly what it says. I can't assess using any other criteria but what's laid down. Yeah, otherwise I'm illegally assessing you. So it's a measure against criteria for competence, and it looks at skills and achievement. So again, it's a stage process where competence is graded in stages, for example, AS and A levels, and modular. Qualification is split into separate modules or units. Units are transferable, for example, higher education, which is what we're doing now. Because you can get, let's say, for some reason, you couldn't finish this qualification. It was impossible at this time. You may have to take, I don't know, 7 or 8 months out, yeah? But you'd already achieved units 1, 2, 3, 4, 8, and 11, yeah? You could get unit accreditation for those, yeah? And provided your registration was still in date, when you could come back and were able to come back, just continue on from where you left off. So that's the beauty of modular, because all the modules are transferable at all times. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we use online assessment as well. So again, in most cases, it gives an immediate result. Well, it does if you're in a classroom-based situation where you were doing, an online test or something like that. But where we're working this way, then the assessment comes in the form of, and the feedback from it actually comes within, well, certainly a short period anyway.
Yeah.
As short a period as I can manage. Depends on how much comes in on any particular time.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. again, approaches to assessment, the discussion of how the assessment is going to take place and what you see as the main strengths and weaknesses of the approach and how suitable is it within your context, yeah? Be prepared to summarise any discussion with the rest of the class, which aren't here, but if you look at how the allocated assessment is carried out that you do, yeah, and what you see as its main strength and weaknesses of the approach is looking at 5.1, yeah, Unit 1 AC 5. And it's supposed to be Unit 6, this.
I was wondering that.
And this drops on to 7, yeah. Before you enter, discuss the types of assessment you use, how and why they are used, what do you assess, what information do they provide, what happens to the results of these assessments, and what are their advantages and disadvantages within the learning process. Now, again, that is written extremely generally so that it will fit in just about with everybody, yeah? Because, again, you go back to looking at this from your own perspective, yeah?
Yeah.
Whenever you do any self-reflection, it comes back to this. I'll just put this down a minute. We'll go back to the one that I can never find because I've moved it. Here we are. Yeah, where it drops into 7.1, that actually. Use theories and models of reflection to evaluate the effectiveness of your own practice in planning, delivering and assessing inclusive teaching and learning. The only difference between 8.1, yeah, is you need to check that you made an evaluation as well as a review at 8.1, and it included assessment. On Unit 1, sometimes it doesn't mention assessment, it only mentions teaching, yeah? So it's to be aware of that, that's all when you check for any cross-references.
Okay.
I went into that fairly deep last week, didn't I? All cross-references.
We had to do it for 2.4, didn't we?
Yeah. I put cross-reference here to 6.6, but it depends on what you individually have written at that point, because you'll all write something different because you're writing from your own experience of where you're actually at. So it's always worth just checking back, have a look at what you wrote. Actually, does it say that? Have I covered other professionals? Yes, I have. Okay, I can cross-reference it. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'll zoom back. You say you're still on 3, aren't you? And that's the one you were having a bit of a problem with last time, weren't you?
Yeah, and now I think I'm getting it, basically.
You've got it now. Well, I actually...
reading to get there, though, I have to say.
Yeah. Well, I put on read and respond to the resource, which I said some of it was in Unit 1 as well, if you remember, on the behaviour management in class, things of that nature. There are several, what would I say, handouts on, short pieces, not big books or not e-books or anything like that, that I put on specifically because some of the e-books that we've got don't fully cover it. They talk about it in a general term, but don't actually make any detail of it. So that's why I put those handouts in, because those actually give you some other reading to look at that will give you the information you need to cover that unit. And again, 4.3, pretty much goes to on L01 4.3 for it is covering establish, sustain, safe, inclusive learning environment. What I was going to do to show you that, I'll go to back to the suggested evidence. And on that one as well, on them both. Oh, wrong one. Yeah, we can have a look. You won't be doing that. So if we look at LO1, what did I say it was? 4.3. Establish and sustain a safe, inclusive learning environment.
It's the same, isn't it?
Establish and sustain a safe, inclusive learning environment. Yeah.
Yeah.
So it will cost whatever you've written for 4.1 on there. Yeah.
Yeah.
And that was a read and respond one as well, actually. Yeah. And it changes slightly to 3.3 in that it says, explain our own practice creating and maintaining a safe, inclusive teaching and learning environment takes into account theories of behaviour management.
Yeah.
4.2 is explain ways to promote equality and value diversity, which is not the same. So it changes slightly again, you see. Yeah.
Yeah.
Again, establish and maintain. Yeah. And then it moved into 5, yeah. So where I put those on, they are pretty clear, you know, what it actually says. It says, almost, where it says exactly the same thing, then, yeah, you can use the same evidence for that. So
Okay.
that one can go away now, bye-bye. That one can go up again, right, there we are. So again, 3.3 will go on from there. To explain how your own practice in creating and maintaining that safe and inclusive teaching and learning environment has taken into account theories of behaviour management. So again, how to respond to your response at 3.1, there is also further reading on safe and inclusive in Unit 1 resources. So I changed that. Yeah, I put that on last week, didn't I? Yeah. Yeah, I added that bit on because I realised they were in one. I hadn't done before when I read through it.
Yeah.
So, 4.1, design resources that actively promote equality and value diversity and meet the individual needs of specific learners. Well, all your learners are specific. So it should be in Unit 1 at 5.3, but you need to check your response to meet these 2 criteria. Yeah. You may have to refer to Unit 1 to add further content here if necessary. So again, it depends. I mean, I've had, you've put roughly, what did I say the measure was for Unit 1, your word count?
About 18,000 or something, isn't it?
It was a lot. So some have written 8, some have written 10, some have written 12. So
I've written
the content of what you've written, if you've written that much at Unit 1, it's 10 to 1 you'll have covered it for Unit 2 as well. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's only where you look at the AC and if it says anything different on here, or slightly different, it may just need a link to refer to with just add a bit of content there to link the 2 together. Yeah.
Okay.
Now, when it gets to put both LO4 and 5 do this. That should need so you can show the resources that you've explained you use. Yeah, you can refer to those again. Now it says demonstrate here twice. Now, it's very difficult to demonstrate with an explanation, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. And what I haven't put on there, again, you can refer to your schemes of work lesson plans. Unit 1 LO3 will explain where this is demonstrated if you did not already cover it here. Sorry. But if you think about it, demonstrating flexibility and adaptability is one of the questions on your teaching observation sheet. Yeah?
Yeah.
So you will be able to refer to teaching observations. You can just add on there, please refer to teaching observation appendix such and such a thing, yeah, whatever it is.
Yeah.
And that will then cover that demonstrate fully. Demonstrate ways to promote equality and value diversity in your own teaching. Now, again, sure, Unit 4.2 is applied, but also you'll be able to demonstrate how it's applied. It'll be part of your teaching. So I'll stick that in. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that's got it.
So does this automatically go onto the system?
What's that? What I put in now?
Yeah.
Here. Yeah, because this is that document that I've just pulled off the VLE. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I've got overwrite rights on that. So whatever I add to this, when I just put save changes, when it goes back to the back onto the VLE, it'll be changed. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
So communicate with learners, the learning professionals, and others to meet individual needs. And this is again where you are reviewing learners' work or learners' ability or any form of assessment you're doing of their work to other people. Yeah.
Yeah.
Where you discuss it with, I don't know, whoever it is that you discuss that with, whether you've got a quality person that deals with that, whether you've got a team leader or any of that nature that would have an interest in that particular circumstance for those learners.
Yeah.
But again, it cross-references fairly clearly to Unit 1, LO 3.5 and 6.6. Checking the content, plus any records, I put on, IB reports, meeting minutes, audio visual records, anything of that nature can go in there, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I just did some IB work for another company, and what he'd done, because it was a higher level manager that he was assessing, he used professional discussion as evidence, and he'd actually filmed it and videoed it of him with the question and answer session and the discussion they'd had. So I was able to go down the assessment criteria going, yeah, he's done that, yeah, he's done that, yeah, he's done that. So it made it fairly straightforward. And 4.5, explain how own delivery of inclusive teaching and learning has taken into account theories, principles and models of learning and communication. So again, you may need to add an explanation of where it meets the theories, models and principles, yeah, because that I'm pretty sure in Unit 1 that's not in.
Yeah.
Now, there's some stuff in there on principles, models and learning of education. If we go to principles and practice of assessment theory. Well, that's Unit 1, sorry. Yeah, that what do teachers do? It's got some stuff in there as well for that. Unit 2, 5 and 6. Again, this is aiming at the assessment side on there, so it's planning for assessment, considerations, be able to apply theories, discuss how we can devise, adapt assessment strategies for various learning requirements, and evaluate your own practice in planning for assessment. Yeah. What do we need to consider when planning the assessment? Space, resources, time, materials, individual needs, time, schemes of work, other assessment pilot, relevant to the criteria, and it's graded. Also, if you are doing, to take that a little bit further, if you are going to assess externally on another premises, then other people will have to be notified of the assessment to make sure that they are available if they need to be, or that they are aware that you're going to be coming in to do the assessment and so forth. I used to have to do this because I assessed people in the actual workplace, on the job sort of thing. So supervisors, anybody else who was involved that needed to be on the assessment plan, if you like. Yeah. So again, it's the what, why, when, how, where, and who. Yeah.
Okay.
What's going to be assessed? Why are we assessing it? When should we do it? how will we assess it, where will it take place, and who will be involved. Those last two, again, are more related to external assessment. Yeah. So where's it going to take place and who else is going to be involved? Oops. Yeah, Rudyard Kipling. 6 honest men, serving men, taught me all I knew. Names are what and why and when and how and where and who. That actually rattles all the way through the assessment process. It's almost like a mantra. Oops, I've jumped a bit. This is a different type of assessment. Have you seen this type of assessment before?
No.
This is holistic assessment. That means that you assess a process being carried out or something that has been learned against the criteria, but on that particular assessment, not all the criteria may be covered. Only some of them will be covered. So it's like if I'm assessing somebody on a job of work, an actual thing that they're making or doing, that particular job might not cover all the criteria for the unit, but it will cover some of it. Yeah, I record what's been assessed and what's been covered, and don't try to put anything else in that'll finish it off, because the next job that's done may cover the bits that weren't done. So externally, you do quite a lot more assessment, if you like, or observed assessment to make sure that you've covered all the criteria. But that's holistic assessment. It's looking at, well, to some extent, what we're doing here by cross-referencing the evidence is holistic assessment. It's looking at the whole thing and saying, yes, this is a separate unit and there are slight nuances that are different between what I've got to produce on there, but it's fully covered in certain sections on a previous unit. So you're using that evidence and not manufacturing further evidence just to cover a specific criteria. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Oops. Oh, this is one of those in-groups ones that we've got, that we haven't got. Learning outcomes for a course. Again, it's looking at how you can use, actually, rather than going through this is why some of these are not really relevant. What you can do is you can take up a circumstance in what you teach and look at ways that you can assess it and discuss in your script those different ways and why you don't use some and you use others. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Right, I shall come off that now. Just a minute, go down you. You see, of this one I've got on here, Unit 2 LO7 and Unit 3 LO5. Yeah.
Yeah.
Engage with models and theories of reflection. Experiment with a model of reflection. Compare and analyse a range of approaches to reflective practice. Critically analyse your own practice following a reflective learning approach and evaluate and reflect on the Evaluate and reflect on the reflective practice techniques. There are a number of these. So theories about learning in which reflection takes a significant part. I think one of the most reflective professions is teaching.
Yeah.
Because it's something you do automatically each time you've run a session. After the session's finished, you'll continually say, how did that go? Did it go okay? Did I deliver it right? Did I speak too fast? Did I make it clear? All those things go through your head as if you finish the session. Yeah.
Yeah.
Again.
It's true.
Why do teachers need to reflect? Well, they don't. It's not that they need to. It's just that they do it automatically. Yeah. Well, again, William Garofano, 2015. We're looking at Kolb. I think we mentioned him already in Unit 1, haven't we? LO 7, yeah? Unit 1. So if we've already Kolb covered, you'll have gone through the 4-stage learning cycle.
Yeah.
Which is that one, yeah? Concrete, doing our experience. Reflective, reviewing, reflecting on the experience. Abstract, concluding learning from the experience, linked to theories. And active experimentation, planning, trying out changes based on what you've learned from your reflection. Yeah?
Yeah.
So again, always the follow-up from reflection is what can be done better? How can I improve? What did I do that I could have made it better? Yeah?
Yeah.
So again, Dewey, how we think, outlines 3 abstract attributes to reflection: open-mindedness, wholeheartedness, responsibility. So suggestions, looking at problems, looking at hypotheses, looking at the reasoning process, and then testing those hypotheses. And the result may be tested, and the consequence inform future plans or behaviour. I mean, it's complex, really, but quite simply, it's how we actually look at what we've done, reflect upon it, look at where we can improve it, and then put that into practice. So, in simple terms, that's what that's saying. Yeah.
Okay.
So basically, the set of slides will cover quite a bit of the theory on reflection and how it goes on, which will assist you with that one, yeah, quite well.
Yeah.
Yeah. Lots of names.
Oh, okay.
You don't have to look at them all. Just take a couple and look at those, and sort of work on those. A lot of them, some of them, I find are a little bit abstract, and you look at them and thinking, what the hell is he talking about? But others, you look at them and say, yeah, I can react to that straight away, because that's exactly how it works. And but some of them, I don't know whether it's just the way it's written, but they don't come over to me as being useful at all. I end up more confused than one before I read them. But some of the others, like I say,
how is it?
Yeah, Cold's pretty good. It's easy to read. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Again, this is exactly what I'm saying. This is wrong when a person thinks of it in another way and revises the action. This is looking at what's been said and perhaps taking a different view of what's been said, right? And then revising your action when you didn't need to.
Yeah.
Because you've misunderstood or misplaced what the inference was upon it. So double loop learning occurs if someone goes wrong, the person asks themselves why, and thinks of alternatives before having a go at the task, yeah? So it closely matches reflection on action, yeah? So some of these are worth looking at on these for to go through LO5 and LO7, I think it comes on there, yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
LO5 and LO7 on that one. Quite a useful one, that. Okay. I think this was a light-hearted one that I put in here. Yeah. There's something a bit further down.
No, I looked at this.
Yeah?
I didn't read all of it.
I'm not surprised, yeah. There's only certain parts of it that are relevant to what? Hang on, where's that go? Come on. Yeah, auditing content, looking at knowledge. Oops. Not there, come on. No, that's not the one I wanted. Never mind, put that down. Yeah. So running quickly over 3 again to give you some support to start.
Yeah.
Look at some theories of behaviour management. Yeah. Have you made a start on this, haven't you?
Yeah, I've made my notes for the people that I'm going to look at. Obviously, I talked about the second slide.
Yeah. So look at the theories of behaviour management, or some of them. Again, there are a lot. So just choose some that will fit in more with how you actually operate. Yeah. There's stuff in there to read and respond to, some to give you ideas. There is one of those sheets. I'll have a look in a minute. Let's go through this. Again, 3.2 is a straight cross-reference. We've now checked that on 9. And then explaining your own practice, inclusion as taking into account theories of behaviour management. So again, response at 3.1. There's also further reading on safe and inclusive in Unit 1 resources. Now, I'll go back to there a minute. Oops, where have we gone? Here we are. Back. Unit 2. This is the right one. Yes, it is. This is unit 1 though. It should be Unit 2. Yeah, that's Unit 1. It should be Unit 2. It's got misplaced. Sorry about that.
Okay.
Making sure it's gone back in the same place. Reflective teacher.
Yeah, it's there, isn't it? It's just evidence of that.
Yeah, should be in there. Yeah. The teaching amplification was looking for Unit 2.
Oh.
Teaching application.
It's that one. Unit 2, developing teaching suggested evidence.
That's the one I'm on. That's the one I've got. It's the enlightenment one, not the enlightenment. What does it say? I can't remember now. Amplification. There should be a Unit 2.
Something else in Unit 2.
Should be a Unit 2 amplification as well. And it ain't there. Where's it gone? Just make sure it's not in here. Unit 3 amplifications there. I shall have to check that. It seems to have got taken off for some reason.
You had it last.
Sorry? I can edit those. I'll check that up for you. Well, the behaviour and classroom management is in there on Unit 2 now, and the behaviour one is on Unit 2 as well now. I moved one of those last week. I think I must have moved that other one by mistake when I was doing it. Not to worry. Are you feel confident to have a go at that LO3 now?
Yeah, I think I need to get on with LO3.
Yeah.
And maybe attempt LO4 as well.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you what. Make a start on it with that first one. And if you're not sure about it, just send it to me. Just email it across and have a look, and I'll send it straight back.
Okay, great.
Okay.
Yeah, perfect.
Have you got any more questions for me tonight?
No.
You're happy with that then tonight?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, you know where I am if you need me.
Okay, perfect.
Okay. Enjoy.
Right,
Have a nice evening.
You too. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye now.